Hi again. Um, the preliminary pack for the Danish Nationals, and I've reached Heartbreak Ridge. Another interesting one. There's three objectives, and you place one in your home quarter. You divide the table into quarters, roll off, and one of the players get to choose which quarter they want. Then you place an objective in your home quarter, and you have an objective in the center of the board, right? Yeah, you have to divide into quarters. Big attacker, defender. Yeah, just a sec. Three objectives. One place is placed in the center of the table. Yeah, exactly. So you have one in your home quarter, one in the center, and then the defender places one in his sector. Right. The objectives cannot be within 15 inches of the center of the board or within 6 inches of a board edge. You may use outflank and forward deployment in this, so you can actually have forward deployers in the neutral sector. And you can outflank in behind the enemy. So be wary when you're placing your objectives, right? When you're taking your poker chip and placing it, don't place it too far out in the corner, because that is dangerous if the enemy considers this video is not going well. If the enemy considers outflanking, then at least make sure that you can defend that objective. Find somewhere where that objective is safe. If you like to keep your army close together, then you might consider actually pushing this very far up towards the center of the board. Because remember, in Heartbreak Ridge, you have three objectives. Each objective is worth 2 points. There are no kill points, it's only the objectives. So if you can keep your own objective and take the one in the center, you win. So a lot of armies can actually win by just placing the objectives correctly, fairly close together, and then pushing your whole army in between those two objectives and dominating that area of the board. If you can do that, you're golden. I actually won this last time I played it by doing exactly that. We had the center of the board, we had one in my opponent's sector, and he had placed it far back. And there was a road. I could have driven up that road, but there was no reason to do so, because he was placing 3 artillery pieces. He had a lot of artillery pieces, like a mortar and an autogun and something else as well. Can't remember if it was a tank or something. And all of that was placed up in near his objective. And I was like, I don't care about any of that. I just need the center objective and my own. So I placed my own objective very close, as close as I could get, 15 inches away from the center objective. And I was lucky, because there was some area terrain there that blocked line of sight through the center. So I could push most of my army in between those two objectives, be in cover from his artillery, and he had to pull his reserves in and hit me from his neutral quarter. By units coming in from reserve. That is very difficult. So, and the interesting thing is, when you deploy your troops, you don't actually deploy that much in your own sector. You deploy 1 infantry unit and 1 other unit, which can be infantry or artillery, in your sector. The rest, half of the rest is in first wave, and the rest is in. No, you must nominate up to half to be in first wave, and the rest is in reserves. And this staggered reserve, where half of your army comes in like turn 1 first wave, half of the army comes in maybe turn 2, and then you have some outflankers. It makes a really interesting game, because when is stuff going to come on? Where is it going to come from? If you're placing your objective far away from the other objectives and far away from the enemy, be aware of outflankers, and be aware of that you need to have something to defend it. because you can do that. Look at your sector and really think about where is the safest place to put my objective, right? That's the most important decision you can make in this scenario. And then decide what will be used to attack the center objective and what will be used to defend your own. Or maybe you're even going to be sneaky. If you have flamers in a jeep or engineers in a truck or whatever, you might think about outflanking them, especially if the enemy places an objective down in his deployment zone, if you're going second. If he places the objective way down in his deployment zone, and then his infantry is not near that objective, he places the infantry up towards the center objective, for instance, so it's not well defended, then he thinks he's safe. You can outflank and then take that objective. Is there any reason why you would outflank on the other side, the side, like the neutral side across from your deployment zone? No, don't ever do that. If you're outflanking, please outflank where you can actually hit his objective. There's no reason to do the other thing. One last trick you might think about deploying. You don't have to deploy your objective far out towards one edge. You can deploy it in the center. 15 inches from the center of the table, yes, but that still leaves you can deploy it right along the central line, which means that, again, your army can be in the center, where it doesn't need to worry about outflankers so much. So, if you can see on your opponent's army list that he has outflankers, like units in jeeps or full-strength squads or units that are good at outflanking because they have some kind of bonus for it, place it in the center. Make sure that he can't do that. Then you're forcing his hand, you're forcing him to like fight you head on instead of coming in from outflank, because it's a long way to the center of the table from the flank. That was my thoughts on Heartbreak Ridge. Cheers.